Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and peace be upon you all, and welcome to this new episode of Islam and Natural Philosophy with Dr. Basil Al-Ta'i. Dr. Basil, how are you today, sir?
I am fine, Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, and this is a new episode of this great series that discusses Daqiq al-Kalam. We have previously been introduced to the concept of Kalam and Daqiq al-Kalam and some historical aspects about it, and this time you promised us to start considering the principles of Daqiq al-Kalam.
Yes,
So today we will start with atomism, I believe, right?
but let me first start with saying this. Through long time of studying the manuscript of early Mutakallimun, I found that we can classify the topics of Kalam into Jalil al-Kalam and Daqiq al-Kalam, as I said in a previous episode. The topics of Daqiq al-Kalam are those related to natural philosophy. And the topics of Jalil al-Kalam are those which are related to theology, pure theology.
Yes.
Throughout my study, I found that the Mutakallimun has developed a systematic and comprehensive views accounting for the origin of nearly everything.
Mhm.
I mean, this was actually started already in 1989. I started my studies. Within 4 or 5 years, I could really get to this point to identify the systematic and comprehensive views accounting for the origin of things in the universe.
Yes.
Mutakallimun, who are practitioners of Kalam, base their theory on several principles which constitute the basic doctrines of their worldview in concern of natural philosophy specifically. The philosopher Maimonides, who died in 1204, designated 12 principles in his book, well-known book, The Guide to the Perplexed. And he called these propositions of Kalam in concern of natural philosophy.
Okay.
And these are...
Maimonides himself was not an Arab, right?
No, he is a Jewish rabbi.
He's a Jew. So
Yeah,
it's interesting that he was actually considering Kalam as while he was from Sephardim, he was talking about Kalam from the Islamic culture. So this says something about how Islam was actually the cultural and civilized and scientific pinnacle of the whole world.
Yeah, I think he studied some topics with Ibn Rushd.
Okay.
Yeah, with the Muslim philosopher Ibn Rushd, and he was in Andalus.
Yeah,
but it is when there were the
persecution and
persecution of the Jews and Muslims. The Jews left Andalus with the Muslims, by the way, and he came to Cairo, and he is buried in Cairo. His grave in Cairo.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is a lesson. This is a lesson to people who would like to really know how Islam embraced people who believed in God, regardless their religion, and protected them when the whole world was against them.
Indeed, if he wouldn't be happy, he won't be living in Cairo. He would go to the West, for example, or to fly to anywhere else.
Yes, absolutely.
To go flee to another country, I mean.
Yes, absolutely.
But he came to Cairo because Cairo at the time also it was a great civilized culture.
Yes.
Anyway, after studying those principles defined by Maimonides, I could reduce them to 5 because I found some redundancies actually, and some other are not concerned directly with natural philosophy. You know, as I said, Maimonides was 1204, died in 20. So the view about natural philosophy, meaning physics, was not the same. It's not the same as now. So to put it in the right context, I found we should identify 5 principles or reduce the 12 principles to 5.
Yeah.
These 5 principles I can find or name as follows. Atomism, which says that everything existing is composed of indivisible parts.
Okay.
The second is temporality, which says that the universe has a beginning with time, and this is different from saying has a beginning in time. It's not a beginning in time, it's a beginning with time.
Okay.
The third one is recreation, the third principle, which says that everything is subject to continued recreation at a very fast rate. The fourth principle is contingency and indeterminism, which says that the laws of nature, that is to say, the phenomena, are indeterministic, and the events occurring in the world are probabilistic.
Okay.
The fifth principle is the integrity of space and time, which says that the space and time are integral part and cannot be separated. There is no meaning to time without space, and there is no meaning to space without time. By the way, if you tell any physicist of the 19th century about this principle, he would say, you are wasting your time because the world is not atomistic. It is not atomic. It's continuous. And the world is not temporal. It is existing for, it's eternal.
Eternal.
Yeah, and you say if you say, what about the properties of things, or you will say things are fixed, are
Static.
Yeah, immutable, doesn't change. And if you ask him about the laws of nature, he says, law of nature are all
deterministic. Yeah.
There is no question of probabilistic. There could be an error. There is your experimental error, your measurement error. And if you ask about space-time, they will tell you the space and time are 2 separate entities. And the time is like a running river. It's endless. It has no beginning, etc. What I just said is actually the counter 5 principles of the Greek philosophy of Aristotle.
Yes.
So until the end of the 19th century, the science or scientists believed in the counter principles, which are the belonging to Aristotle. Now we have these principles. Let me start with atomism and clarify this, Mr. Ahmed. It's important, very, very important.
Great.
Because there are many studies, and some big studies, like, for example, Harry Wolfson wrote a book titled The Philosophy of the Kalam, and it's printed in Harvard University Press, as he is a professor in Harvard University, in Harvard Department of Philosophy. His book is 870 pages. The Philosophy of the Kalam. Atomism takes about 70 or 80 pages.
70 or 80 pages. Wow.
Yes, of this huge book.
Okay.
But then he also had problems. He had misunderstood things, And that's why I insist on clarifying. There are obviously reasons. Also, you have a book by Shlomo Pins, who is also a Jewish philosopher. Shlomo Pins or Pines. This scholar is a great scholar. He wrote a book titled Islamic Atomism.
Ah, really?
1936 was
36.
published, 36. And the book was translated to Arabic by Abdul Hadi Abu Rida, the Egyptian scholar, in 1946.
Okay.
Yeah, already. مذهب الذرة عند المسلمين.
And this was just after the Rutherford and other people did their work, and atomism was starting to become something important in science.
Acknowledged.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why.
Yes.
So I would say that we should know that the question of continuity and discreteness is an age-old question. It's a very, very old question. Yes. It is manifested by the question, are things of the world? When we say things, it means matter, space, time, extension, distance, everything. Are things of the world infinite divisible, or would it be would the divisibility stop at certain level? This is the question. Greek philosophers, except Democritus and Leucippus, adopted the infinite divisibility of things. That's to say the world is continuous, as I said a few minutes ago. But mind you, many people think that the Kalam atomism is borrowed from Democritus, from the Greek. No, it is not. Anyway, Mutakallimun adopted the concept of finite divisibility and assumed that matter, space, time, and motion are divisible into finite number of elements. The smallest part was called the indivisible part. In Arabic, al-juz' alladhi la yatajazza. This is the smallest part, mind you. However, the Kalam atom, then you can call this al-juz' alladhi la yatajazza, if you like, you can call it Kalam atom, because it's the smallest part which is indivisible. Yeah. However, the Kalam atom is much more sophisticated than the Greek atom. In what respect? Let us see. The Kalam indivisible part or atom is composed of two components, two constituents, the Jawhar, which means the essence, and the Arab, which means the transient.
Okay.
Mistakenly, many authors have misnamed these two, the Jawhar, which means the essence actually. They name it substance. And the Arad, they name it accident. Including scholars, you know. Why? Because these terms has been used in the by Aristotelian philosophy. Again, so they say substance and accident. But the Jawhar is not substance. In Aristotelian philosophy, you have the thing, which is matter.
A physical thing, yeah.
Physical thing, yes, of course. And you have the shape or the form. And the form is the accident. It can change. For example, you can have a piece of wood and you can make a table or a chair or a bed or anything or a stick. So these are accidents in the Aristotelian. But to the Kalam, it's not like that. I will show later. We'll see. We'll understand what does it mean. The Arab means whatever transient. You see.
Is it before we go to the Arab, the Jawhar is like if you say the
Yes.
wood, the concept of wood is then the Jawhar, right? Or what?
The concept of wood.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
The Jawhar means essence. Is a term used by mutakallimun to express an abstract, this is very important, abstract entity of the indivisible part of anything.
Okay.
This is the Jawhar. The Aral means whatever transient. It meant the attributes or the properties which are transient. That is accepted by the Jawhar, because the Jawhar cannot stand 2 moments without Arab.
Okay. So the Arab is what makes the Jawhar physical.
Exactly.
It is the manifestation of the Jawhar.
Mumtaz. Very good. Many authors translate the word Arab again to accident, as I said, which is wrong. Also, this outset, we should note that the Jawhar is not the atom, as many authors write. The Jawhar is the atom. Even big scholars like Harry Wolfson made this mistake.
Okay.
It is the juz الذي لا يتجزأ. But Shlomo Pins identified it correctly. He said the atom is the juz الذي لا يتجزأ. This is the Kalam atom, but not the Jawhar.
Okay.
The Kalam atom has no extension, mind you, but the Mutakallimun used the term juz' part to describe the smallest part forming the thing, according to Jurjani in his book Ta'rifat. In his book Ta'rifat, he defines it. So the juz' can be taken to correspond to the atom in the philosophical description.
Okay.
But then we have another concept which we should take care of, and that is tahayyuz. Tahayyuz, they say the Jawhar should... Tahayyuz means occupancy, actually, according to my understanding. It's the occupancy. It's not the occupation of a space or a place. Why I say that? Because the leaders of early Kalam stated clearly that tahayyuz could be taqdeeru makan, could be an estimation of a place.
Really?
Yes.
Yani a probabilistic approach, like what quantum mechanics would say.
Indeed, because tahayyuz is not a fixed place. If you view it that way, then you are a philosopher, not a mutakallim.
Very strange. How did they arrive to this? It's very strange. How did they arrive to this?
I'll tell you later that, but Harry Wolfson was really shocked with such abstract understanding.
I am actually shocked.
And he said in his book, it's already there. I would paraphrase what he said. He said, I am shocked how these Bedouins, nomads, could arrive at such complex, abstract understanding in 100 years, in 100 years.
Absolutely.
How is it or so?
Absolutely. Very strange.
He said in the book of the philosophy of the Kalam, this level of philosophical understanding needs hundreds of years, of a legacy before that, until you reach such understanding. My answer to him was, I didn't see him, but I wrote on his book, a note you forget that these people came with the Quran in their hand.
Mm.
And if you ask me how they was talking about Jawhar and Arab, I will tell you, they themselves, the Mutakallimun, states that their lead to these are also religious, not only rational. And this is things which some atheists do not understand. They think that it's only a free thinking will get you the right understanding of the world. And this is
Mm.
wrong. I'm sorry. Yes,
Okay.
yes, religion has an influence on our understanding of the world. And without religion, we
Mm.
cannot have a proper inquiry into the world. The illumination of the divine should be there, but they don't understand it. Some people.
It is
What
natural that the one who has actually created everything can give us the right pointers where to look and what to look for. Yes.
exactly
Yeah.
supporting evidence for atomism? What are these? I admit it is religious on one hand, and it is rational on the other hand. What is the religious? The religious is the sign, is the trigger. Where can I find the trigger in the Quran for atomism? وَأَحْصَى كُلَّ شَيْءٍ عَدَدًا, accounted for everything in numbers.
Hmm.
And it's
SubhanAllah.
not me who is saying this. It is
Hmm.
already the early mutakallimun has used this argument. Some
So
of the
this is where they derived it.
yeah. And when you tell him what is Arab, why you should call it Arab? What is Arab? Transient. Where do you bring it from the Quran? They
Hmm.
say again from هذا عارض ممطرنا. This is a transient
Hmm.
cloud
Hmm.
will give us
Rain on
rain.
us. Hmm.
Rain us, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Will shower us.
Yes. We'll show
هذا
us.
عارض ممطرنا, and it is
Yeah.
also written in the books of متكلمون. So we shouldn't keep an eye shut on this. Abu
Yeah.
al-Hudayl, for example, al-Allaf, one of the big leaders of the Mutakallimun,
Hmm.
early, it's in the power of God to separate a body into indivisible parts. That's why some philosophers and scholars, modern scholar, they say yes, religion had an impact and was a guide to the Mutakallimun for sure. The other one
Hmm.
is rational. You see, the Quran give you, as I said, a sign. If you want to use it, you can use it and you can deduce
Hmm.
a new thing. But this deduction, do not look in the deduction of the full theory in the Quran. You need
Yes. You
not.
have to do your work.
You have to do your homework. And this, the finiteness of a body suggests that's what they say, that's what they argued. They argued that the finiteness of a body suggests that it must be formed of a finite number of elements. The classical Zeno paradoxes, as you perhaps know, are also suggesting a finite number of constituents. I admit, yes, this could be also have motivated the Greek atomism. I mean, the Zeno paradox, as they write now in studies and research. Mutakallimun have discussed many examples to show that the finite divisibility is prevailing and it should be a must, it cannot be ignored. The famous Kalam historian al-Shahrastani, I don't have time actually to present the rational arguments they presented, but al-Shahrastani in his book نهاية الإقدام في علم الكلام, which is
Hmm.
translated into English, he presents many arguments in favor of atomism.
All right. Great.
Now, the properties of the Jawhar. Most of the Mutakallimun agreed that all the Jawahir plural for Jawhar.
Jawhar. Yeah.
Jawhar is single.
Yeah.
Agreed that the Jawahir are alike.
Very
One and
strange.
the same. One and the same. One and the same. Well, how could it be that the essence of wood is the same as the essence of iron? They say, aha, here comes the essence. The Jawahir is abstract. It is the arad. It is the transit attribute or property that makes the wood wood, and the essence of the wood. The essence of the wood would be made wood, and as you said, it will give it the meaning, the ontological status then, and make the iron essence as iron. It's the arad, and this arad is very fast changing. That's why they call it transient. The most important property of the Jawhar for the Mutakallimun is occupancy, as I stated what it means, occupancy. The Jawhar cannot stand by arad. We also have to note that. It cannot stand without arad, I mean. The arad is what gives the Jawhar full ontological status, and the arad is a transient attribute that do not stay two successive moments. It doesn't stay two successive moments. Here, some of the mutakallimin, I should also point to the fact that they differ. You know, some of the mutakallimun say, no, not all a'rad, not all transients are or accidents in the common use of the word. Not all are do not stay, do not endure. Some of the a'rad, accidents, so to speak, endure. Some do not endure, and this is a difference. But most of the mutakallimin, especially the Ash'arites, said all the a'rad, all the transient attribute do not stand two moments. And when they say moment, it means moment in the meaning of the quantization of time.
Very, very small amount of time. Extremely small amount of time.
Yeah. It's a blank time, actually.
Yeah.
You can say, Yeah. So this is my presentation, first part. And then in this coming episode, the next episode, I will talk more about the Jawhar and Arad and Islamic Atomism.
Yeah, this is very interesting, Dr. Basil. It reminds me of what physicists say that, and you are a physicist, of course, and what I notice about modern physics is that physicists are very annoyed that there are actually so many particles. They call it, there is a zoo of particles, and it makes them very annoyed because they want to see something that is just one thing for matter and maybe one thing for energy, and then the aspect that, for example, you have quarks, and quarks will just it's an up quark now, and after a little time it becomes maybe another kind of quark, and then back to an up quark, and then so it's the a'rad are changing over these jawahir all the time. This is actually the best mathematical models for particle physics. What now
Indeed, is not only for particle physics, you know, as I will explain later when I come to the applications, the Islamic atomism and other principles can provide a solution for the problem, so-called problem of measurement in quantum mechanics.
Right, because of the Heisenberg uncertainty.
I have already a paper published in proceeding of conferences of the Science and Religion Forum. I put it in the science and religion debate context, but also I have a scientific paper version, which is on archive. I didn't publish it in a journal because I feel the need to have it as a new theory rather than only a notion, or an idea to solve the problem of it. No, it's we have to build a theory, a complete new theory.
Absolutely. So for everybody who has been watching us today, if this is the first time you watch this series, I would truly recommend that you go back and watch episode 1, where we talked about Kalam and Daqiq al-Kalam. And then you also watch episode 2, where we discussed the revival of Kalam and how we can today make use of it. And then all what we are saying today about the principles of Kalam, starting with atomism, will fall into place. And we have just started the atomism, which is we discussed today what are the principles, the 5 principles, and we started with atomism. And next episode, inshallah, we continue atomism. And if you have questions, please, you will find the link to the live after show. So join us there, and you can ask your questions live to Dr. Basil, and he will, inshallah, answer your questions. So see you on the other side, and see you next time. And thank you, Dr. Basil, for this very informative episode. And assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.